Nice work, but the pacing is a little off. This is probably the most common criticism a writer could get. And yet, what exactly does it mean? It is often very difficult to address criticism of pacing because pacing actually means two completely different things to different people. First, it can be a criticism of the tempo of your story. Second, it can be a criticism of the rhythm. I think the difference between the two is best illustrated by a musical analogy. So sit back and relax while I play for you 4 short snippets. So, as you now understand, tempo is all about the number of events that happen on average per unit time. And in case of music, those events are notes, and in case of books, those events are, things happening to a character or to your world. On the other hand, rhythm is all about how those events are distributed throughout your work. Are they placed consistently and logically, or are they just haphazardly thrown around? To illustrate, imagine that this is your book with different chapters. And this pile of balls is everything that happens in your book, and I didn't mean to make it sound like that. The point is that the size of this pile is tempo, and rhythm is how this pile is distributed throughout different parts of your book. So importantly, you could have a huge pile that you distribute really unevenly, and people would still say that, this part was maybe boring. So what do we do with this knowledge? First, when you collect feedback, when somebody read your story and says, I didn't really like the pacing, make sure to ask them more questions. What is it about? Is it about tempo or is it about the rhythm? If it is about the tempo, then try to ask yourself, did you choose the right density of events for the type of story that you're trying to tell? You don't want to play a funeral march at a crazy dancing music pace or the other way around, and similarly, if you have a detective story, you probably don't want to write it in a way where nothing happens in it at all for chapters on end. But for other subgenres, it's totally fine, especially in literary fiction. You can have a very contemplative work in which maybe nothing happens at all and everything is just ruminations of the main character. Additionally, if you get negative feedback about the tempo of your writing, keep in mind that this may be a matter of taste, because some people don't like fast music, some people don't like slow music, and similarly for readers. So when it comes to tempo, just make sure that it fits your vision, fits the type of story you want to tell, and you're good to go. If the feedback is about the rhythm, it's a little bit more tricky. When you're fixing issues with the rhythm, let's say somebody says, I was bored in chapters 3, 4, and 5, keep in mind this diagram and remember that the most obvious solution, which is to just add events in the middle, is not always the best one. Oftentimes it's actually better to even it out by dropping something from those piles or maybe moving them in the center. The reason is simple. If you just pile up things in the empty chapters, you may fix the rhythm, but now your tempo also changed because now you just have more events overall, and perhaps that doesn't fit your vision for the story. So if you have issues with rhythm, try to be careful. Don't just go with your gut feeling right away. Try to think about what is the best solution that would allow you to preserve the tempo that you want while fixing the rhythm. Now, one last thing. Of course, we don't want to distribute events exactly evenly into every chapter. That would be boring. Like in music, we want to build up tension, build up the intensity of our narrative, and then maybe slow down in between and so on. Now, that is a topic for a separate video. I'm already working on it. It's going to be about plotting and maintaining narrative tension. So if you don't want to miss that, click the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. I would appreciate that. If you liked the video, click the like button. And with that being said, bye, and thank you so much for stopping by.